Well, welcome back to Marky Mark's Wood Shop. Marky Mark, and this is the wood shop. So, you will recall in our last video, I guess part one of our shelves for the cabinets in the RV, we glued up some pieces of cedar. So, they're glued up. Clean them up a little bit, cut them to size. So the first thing I'm going to do is just scrape off the squeeze out from the glue, because that will clog up the sandpaper in our machine. We're going to use the drum sander to clean these up a little bit, and probably come back and give it a sanding with some finer paper, just a little quick sanding, and then we'll cut it to size. So that takes care of the glue that's squeezed out of the joints, and I'm just using a paint scraper to do that with. These are called barnacle scrapers if you grew up around the Chesapeake. And what I've done was, these are pretty blunt, but what I've done was held it against a grinder and made a nice sharp edge on it. So we can run these through the belt sander now and clean them up. But before I do that, I'll show you that I've already measured and marked where my cuts are going to be. Let's see if the light can pick it up. There's a center mark and 13-inch width, and we'll use the pieces we cut off as shelf supports in there. Now I'm going to lose these marks when I run it through the sander. I probably should have measured afterwards, but I didn't. So what I did was I transferred my lines to the end. That way I can just transfer them right back real easy. And I did that using a square. And you can see the profile is such that it hangs over, so I can hold it on the edge and transfer it. This square is made by Shinwa, Japanese company. They make good products at a good price. So, let me run these through the drum sander and then we'll get to cutting. Alrighty. Having gone through the drum sander, what I've done is I have transferred my marks where I want to cut back on the top edge, because one thing I want to do too is just trim the edges, because let's see if you can see that they're just ever so slightly uneven from the glue up, which is okay, but we're here, we're dirty, the sawdust is out, so let's just trim those up and then we'll cut them to the widths that we want. And we're just going to barely skim it. Alrighty, and I've used the sliding attachment for this next cut, but I think I'm going to use the fence because I trust it more. Now my marks are on the opposite side, which are really useless to me, so I'm going to set the fence right at the 13-inch mark, and we'll cut the other side. And I'm going to double check my fence against the saw. It is probably a 32nd off. And it may be entirely possible that I'll have to come back and trim it anyway, because it was very hard to measure the inside of the cabinet with a tape measure, so the accuracy isn't going to be that great. However, it'll get us close. So these are going to be pretty stout for supports. I think I just might cut a couple of them in half, and that'll be more than sufficient. So we have our supports cut, we have our shelves cut. Next thing we want to do is just give them a final sanding, and we'll just use an orbital sand. Let's see how we're going to install these things. So this is the cabinet the shelf is going to go in, and the idea is, let's see if I can do this with 2 hands, really need 3. These shelf supports will be on either side, and the shelf will just sit on top, and we'll screw everything in place. I think I found a stud on this part, so I'm going to start there. And I don't have enough hands or room to show you the process. Alright, so what we've done so far is I pre-drilled the supports with a few screws and found the holes and where it would be level and put them in either side. Unfortunately, there's no studs, and this is just thin wallboard. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put some glue on the boards and then screw them down, and then we'll have to come up with a little spreader clamp, which I have an idea. So let me get that done, and I'll come back and show you the results. Alrighty, the supports are in. They went in a little bit better than what I thought. We've got good squeeze out on the glue up there. So the screws themselves have pulled it close enough to where I'm not going to have to come up with a contraption to put some pressure on it to spread them and apply pressure to the glue. So we're good there. I was prepared for that. So now all we have to do is get the shelf in there. And that in itself is a little problem I just discovered, because the back part is tapered. And I know it might be a little big, especially in the width. So as you can see, fitting it in is an issue. So what I might do is go back to the shop, cut an inch off of it, and then come back and test fit it and see where we're at. So there we have it. One shelf for the RV. And it's just kind of sitting in there loose. I'll put a couple screws in it, that way it doesn't rattle around, although it's not going anywhere. Matter of fact, maybe I should leave it like that. That'd give me the option to take it out in case we ever have to put something tall in there. So, one side done. On to the next side. Yay! And there's the other shelf installed. Same process, supports on either side underneath, screwed and glued, and the shelf is just sitting on top. It's not going anywhere. So that pretty much sums it up. So now we have shelving in there that's easily removable if we want. That way it's a little bit easier, hopefully, to put clothes in there. because rather than hanging things, we anticipate folding things, shirts, shorts, socks, etc. So if we do want to hang stuff, they can pop out easily. Plus we have a third large one in the bathroom. So another upgrade to the RV, all done. So leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe for more upgrades to our RV as we go, and thanks for watching.